Hello everyone, welcome back. This is my second project for KITAHOLIC Kits for the month of January. I am working on this 9x12 layout, and I asked Steph this month if she could give us some creative prompts. And one of the prompts she gave us is a layout focused on 2021 goals. 2023 goals. You can see my brain is still 2 years in the past. And as I was doing this journaling, as I was thinking about this, I was actually thinking I'm going to do these goals type layout in the context of a letter to 2021. So that is what this layout is. It is a random selfie of myself that kind of matched the colors in this particular kit. And then the main part is obviously the letter to 2022. Anyway. As I have been rambling on there, you would have seen I'm starting to add this grit paste through one of the stencils we got on the mixed media kit onto this layout. Now, my thought was that I wanted to go for more of a subtle look. I think that if you were to try this, I would still recommend adding a little bit of white paint to the texture paste just so that it's a little bit more visible. It is definitely visible in person, but not so much on camera. So what I did is I decided to take some water reactive inks and that matched the colors from that rainbow wood paper that I'm using. And I'm just doing some ink splatters, and then I'm going with a spray bottle and I'm just going to spray and react and activate all of those ink colors to make them run a little bit. And because they run between this grit texture that I've created using those love hearts, it does make the love hearts pop a little bit more, which you will see a little bit later. Now, most of it gets covered up anyway, but it's just so that there could be that little element in the background, which you will see. Now, also, that is a delicious iced tea that I've got on my desk that my husband got me for Christmas. It's a strawberry iced tea and it's amazing, and it's from T2, and I recommend everyone get it. Moving on, I am going to matte my photo on this cardstock from Jen Hadfield. Now, I didn't really know how I was going to use this page full of stamps, and then I realized that my photos actually, both of them, fit perfectly within the boxes, leaving just a little peekaboo of the color on the outside. So I was really happy how that turned out, and it creates a cool bit of texture. Then what I wanted to do was create a flip up. Because I wanted my journaling to be a little bit hidden, because I didn't necessarily always want to read. It's a bit more heavy journaling, but also it's good, but it's just not necessarily something that I always want to be able to read every time I look through my entire album. So I am first going to put that journaling on some white cardstock for reasons I don't quite understand now, because in a few minutes I'm going to put it so that it's on pink cardstock, which means that as it is back to back with that photo of me, the pink peeks through on the sides. But for now, I was thinking I'm going to put it on the white. I think the reason why I had to do is because it ended up being that the photo was taller than my journaling, and I couldn't make my photo much smaller. So that's why I added the little pink border as well. That is my reasoning. Sorry for my tangent. I'm also really sorry that I'm off camera for a lot of this. It was very annoying because normally I have my camera set up so it's a bit on a tilt so you can actually see what I'm doing, but I forgot to do that because I'm a bit rusty after all the December daily things that have happened this month. So I am not currently on screen, and I do apologize for that. I am creating the hinge now. So I just took a scrap piece of cardstock and I folded it in half, and I'm going to stick the photo down onto it first. Then I'm going to back it with the journaling, and I do put it upside down at first, but I fix that off screen. And then I am going to set that aside and move on to the rest of my layout, because I didn't necessarily want the white border from the flip up to be visible, which means that I am going to create a slit in my actual layout. So that's why I'm moving on to this big photo, and I'm again just matting that on this Jen Hadfield paper. I was going to put it that way, and then I realized it fit quite perfectly on an angle. The problem with this is that my photo paper is a little bit thin, and this very bright cardstock kind of showed through my photo, especially because I'm wearing a light colored dress. So what I need to do is I first need to put it on a piece of white cardstock, cut it down yet again, and then I'm going to stick it back onto that colorful paper that we got in this month's kit. And yeah, I really like, again, how that looks. It's got that a bit of the colors popping through on the side. It matches the other photo, but it doesn't really have any clear words or clear icons, although I think you can kind of make out the word meow, which has got nothing to do with the layout whatsoever, but it's still quite funny. So it's time for me to stick this down, and this was a bit of a struggle. I put a lot of glue on the back of my paper there, and I still struggled sticking it down. So because of it's that really gritty texture underneath. So I just took my tiny attacher and I just stapled my layout in place in 2 spots, and it is secure enough. And also when I add this little slit and I glue the flap in there, it will be secure enough. So what I'm doing now is I'm just measuring roughly where I want this cut to be. And then I'm going to go in with my X-Acto knife and a ruler. And as you can see, it's very wonky, but it works out in the end anyway. And I'm just going to slot that flip up in there. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to stick that piece of white paper down. But I am also going to reinforce it with some red line tape and then normal tape over the top of that. So it is no way going to move whatsoever. Also, apologies for my nails. They are normally nice and done, and in this particular day, they were just broken and destroyed, and so I still need to get them done, so I'm really sorry about the state of my nails. There was a little bit of that white left over, and I didn't like how that looked, so I'm just adding a little bit more of the thinner red line tape, cutting that down and adding a tiny little strip of gold washi. The reason why I'm adding the red line tape there first is because I do not trust the stickiness of washi. It will just not stay put. So definitely make sure you stick your washi to your layouts if you ever use it. So that is how that looks. And I really love that it just looks like a normal layout of 2 photos of me. But then you can flip it up and it can create this beautiful, you can see the journaling underneath. So I am just creating a title. I got these glitter thicker alphas from my stash, and I think I've had these since maybe 2018. In fact, I'm fairly certain I used them in my daughter's newborn baby album, and I finished that within the first year of her being born, and she's turning 5 now. So they are old, but I wanted something punchy and glittery and something that's a different font to the golden puffy grateful that I'm sticking down just now. And so what my title is going to be is So Grateful. So I'm just tucking those gold puffies into the flip underneath, and then I'm going to take these ancient thickers, which are surprisingly still very sticky, and I'm going to stick down the word so. Now it's time to embellish, which is always my funnest part of any particular layout that I do. And I'm just going to create 3 little flower clusters. I think I might create 2. I'm not sure. We will see how it goes. I am sticking down that little pre-made cluster behind the grateful. And then I'm going to add on top of that another little sunflower flower that's kind of the same as the one that's already on there, but bigger. I'm going to tuck that behind, and then behind the O from the so, I'm going to tuck a little pink flower. And I really like how that cluster looks. Lots of layers because they're all tucked in different parts of the backing paper, if that makes sense. Now I wanted to make sure that this bottom cluster looked good, both flipped up and flipped down. So I wanted it to look like a cluster was coming out of that photo. and also that it was, but also when you open it up, it looked really good too. So that is what I am doing now. I am just going to change up that and add a bit more of that green and create a little cluster here. It's so easy to use these flower die cuts to just create something punchy and beautiful on your layouts, and I absolutely love every time we get a matching flower die cut pack in a kit, and I use it all the time. Oh yeah, I do another little cluster there on the top. Sorry, it must have cut out. I also use those little enamel buttons to create an interesting texture, and then I'm going in with my golden Nuvo drops to create a little sprinkly bits, and then this layout will be done. But I put the Nuvo drops underneath where that journaling will close, and then when I wanted to kind of finish my layout, I realized I couldn't close that flap, so I just stick a little stamping pad in there to make sure it stays open until my Nuvo drops dry. Anyway, that is the layout done. Thank you very much for joining me for my second project, and I will see you all again next week. Bye.